All right, hello everybody for the Wednesday webinar, and again we have a really special guest, Colin Knox from Canada. Again, another Canadian maverick in the managed service provider business, and I really like Colin because he's a really down-to-earth guy and he's an executor machine. So I was talking with him a couple of years ago, first time, and I see that what he's saying that's happening in the company. So it's really rare because most of the MSPs, yeah, we do that, yeah, of course, and probably not. So I really like his approach that how he do the business. And the other thing which is really important is that in a couple of weeks ago he was able to exit from this managed service business. So, but that was a purpose because he found out a niche of this arena about managing passwords, and he's working on a startup now to do that. And it's like me, we have sharing this stuff that we wanted to make this MSP work and then see how we can serve the community after that. So I'm sharing this vision with him. So I just welcome Colin, and just please introduce yourself and just I have lots of questions, so we can start after.
Sure. No, that sounds good. Thanks very much for having me. I'm looking forward to our chat. We've always had good conversations between us. So, yeah, I'm Colin Knox, currently the CEO of Passportal, and as well now the chairman of an MSP I own called XCEL Professional Services in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Been working in IT for a number of years, probably coming up on 14 years now. Over that time, I've worked through 4 different managed service providers, varying levels from being a regular tech up to special projects consulting, into service management, operations, and then through to founding and starting my own MSP, which I just exited, I guess, 4 weeks ago. Appointed a new president in there, and that company now sits at 20 employees, probably on the verge of 22, between Calgary and Edmonton, with 2 offices, and supporting just over 2,000 users right now.
That's nice. And you said your background was tech. So what was your what was your education, or how you got to this space?
My education is actually in software development. I
System
did that all
thinking,
through
right?
college with software development and learning that, and going through back in the days where it was just C code, none of this object-oriented and web-based stuff, really. At the time I was graduating, we had a compulsory work term that we had to do, and there wasn't a whole lot of jobs in the market at the time for software, so I somehow landed a help desk, kind of desk side support work term position with a chemical company.
Cool.
And worked with them for a while, and then moved on from that into a oil and gas services company where I had a great mentor that really taught me everything about being an overall IT tech and dealing with Windows, Microsoft infrastructures, all of that sort of stuff. And so really learned a lot there, started doing some other certification work, and stayed on the technical support and IT infrastructure side, and didn't become a code monkey after all.
That's nice. That's good for the world, not to that go that direction. So it's like my question is that what I was fascinated about that when we were talking is that, and I think it's really a challenge for lots of people. First of all, you were able to raise this company really steadily. And that means always systems and put places and different things. But I was really fascinated that you had a really mature virtual CIO and IT management part of your business. That means that you come like a software developer, go to this type of IT industry, and then go to the consulting business. These 3 is totally different disciplines. And what was the challenge for your, or let's say, how you started to figure out that you have to break the IT to go to this consulting stuff? how you started, what was your time frame. So that's, I think, lots of people working on how to move up to the food chain a little bit. So just can you tell us stories about that?
Yeah, so I guess having worked through a number of companies before I started XCEL, I sat through numerous roles and understood what it felt like to work at an IT company. So the first thing when I was starting XCEL that I wanted to do was find out what are going to be some key things that help us grow and help us do well. And in a service company, the power's in your people and who you have working for you. And one of the lead things to retaining staff and even recruiting and bringing on staff is giving them an opportunity to grow. So that was always a focus in our business, was what do we need to do to provide our staff opportunities to grow, so that if they're looking to get into a certain area of specialization or start doing something new, they don't have to leave our company to go do that. We can retain them in our business, have access to their historical knowledge of clients and whatever else they were doing before, but still also satisfy their appetite for something more and some new challenges. Early on in the business, when there was just a couple of us working, really, a really key defining thing happened when I walked into one of our clients' offices, and they were introducing me to, or telling me they were going to introduce me by email to another consulting company that did some things on the advisory side, and I can't even remember what the other facet was of it. And it really wasn't overly complex stuff. And I looked at the CFO and said, well, you know that we can do that for you, right? And he said no. And it kind of shone a bright light for me. And a light bulb went off in my head, realizing that even though our IT company and almost every other IT company is capable of doing all of these other areas of service to clients, if you don't let the client know that, don't assume they know, because chances are they don't. That client and many others of ours realized and then were under the assumption that we only did desktop support and managed servers, that we weren't there to be able to do special projects that would scale their scale their network, or migrate them to a new line of business application, or even advise them on telephony products, interconnectivity between sites, or just how to better leverage technology. So one change that I made immediately after that was changing our email signatures across the board, so that at the bottom we had our set of core services of what we could do, from managed services to network design and implementation to IT security reviews, business continuity, things along those lines, so that we were starting to build a brand around, we're not just the IT desk side techs, we can do so much more for you. And then starting to breed that out in every one of our conversations with clients, so that they understood the breadth of what we could do. So as we've gone on and started to grow, we've realized now that just having a projects team and a managed services team hasn't been enough to, I guess, retain the great staff and keep them happy, because after a certain while, projects become monotonous for people. Building the same virtual clusters and network infrastructures time after time after time gets monotonous and boring for a lot of people. So now, under the new president, what we're doing with the business is starting to segregate into different service practices, being IT business advisory, so that we're doing even further and more consulting and strategic review and working on the client's business, not just on their technology. Getting into our IT security practice for ethical hacking, penetration testing, overall security reviews for the clients. Starting to look into the telecommunications practice when it comes to internet service provider, being a dealer network of that, providing video conferencing solutions, telephony solutions, whether that's hosted PBX or on-premise systems with the PRIs and whatnot. So that we're starting to build this segregated area where, as we bring junior people into the tier 1 level of our help desk, as we're hiring them in and training them, they can see all these different opportunities for where they can grow into and find their own passion, so that we can start to build these training, I guess, paths for them to help them achieve the certifications they need to grow into those roles and help us build the business and do it successfully with retaining people that are dedicated and loyal to the company.
That's really interesting, because I didn't know that background, that what was the motivation, but it's totally understandable. And based on this HR, that because it was like a strategy that you probably, I guess, you hired from the bottom and you raised them high. So that's probably what I usually see, that it's more cultural fit. It's much more engagement, more loyalty can come because you let them grow. And if you can raise their money decently, it's still not that high level which you can come from based on an expert. So that's how it pays off. So what was your practices about that? Because I think it's everything is in this core is go back to the people management.
Yeah. So when we started, we would always hire senior people because we were small and we needed to make sure anybody we brought on would be capable to solve what they needed. But now we've adopted the mentality of we always hire at the junior level unless a really great candidate comes along to grab them. From an HR level, we're still very focused on our people. We've done numerous things to make sure that we can retain them, from the new office space that we had built out in the last year with staff lounges, video gaming consoles, the TVs. We have a massage and relaxation room where the techs can go in and get massages at any time and just book the room. And then just an open workspace with the TV dashboards up if there's big sports games going on, being able to play that, and then really paying for educational advancement and certifications for the staff so that they can grow and give them that encouragement without having to hit themselves. So it's given us a chance to really retain people and grow them to help the business.
Colin, it's like what I hear from other managed services when we tell about certifications, education, stuff like that. For example, our case is that we are educating virtual CIOs, we are educating how to processize sales and things like that. They always, I see the CEOs try to learn first, and they somehow distribute the content because they have some kind of fear that they will be too much trained and they can leave the company or go and do some other company, because it's like probably they had some kind of bad experience in the past. How was the reality with you? So had you experienced some kind of bad luck with people, or how you manage that?
No, not really. I mean, probably where that stems from with a lot of companies is that almost every single IT company is because somebody left another IT company to start theirs. In fact, if they've got the worry, it's because they did it themselves. So they got good, they got smart, and figured they could do it better, and started their own company. We've been fortunate, and in 5 years, we've only received 2 resignations out of probably about 30 hires that we've performed. So we've been really fortunate to keep people, and again, it goes to the idea that as long as you're providing opportunities for growth and new challenges and ways that people can advance their careers, they don't need to look for that elsewhere. I read a book a long time ago, I don't even remember which one it was, but it identifies that there's 2 types of people in business, and there's the people that enjoy the stability and security that a full-time job provides. They know that I'm going to go to work from 8 o'clock till 5 o'clock, Monday to Friday. I know what my job entails, what I'm going to do. I know what I get paid, and I can manage my life and plan my life around that. And the other type of people is the people that are always looking for better ways to do it, but new ways to enhance things, and just don't get that sense of achievement or fulfillment from performing the same tasks day over day. So they're looking for more. Excuse me. While every company needs the worker bee that wants to come in and work hard and know their job and do their job, we try to hire people in a culture and mentality of entrepreneurship, so that when they're coming in, they can give us suggestions on how to improve things and do things. And when we start to consider those or work through with them, they're also seeing some of the business side of our company, of how that operates, how it works. And when we do make a change that's based off their suggestion and give them some ownership or ability to champion that change, they get the gratification out of seeing the impact that they've had in the business and not need to necessarily start their own company. It's all about building a culture of empowerment, building a culture of open communication, and realizing that you're better off always hiring people that are smarter than you, because they will learn, they will do, and if you treat them and value them and give them great respect because of what they're able to do, they're going to reciprocate that respect to you and not look at stabbing you in the back or taking off somewhere and trying to steal clients or employees or whatever.
That's interesting. And what I was thinking is that lots of managed services have a trouble to define this type of consultative role or managerial role or virtual CIO type of role, because it's we all know it's a different discipline. It's not a technology discipline. It's more likely like human or business discipline. And I always get the question, okay, who to hire to that role from a tech, some business guy, or because nobody want to create just a practice that, okay, I'm a smart CEO of the MSP and I can carry the business conversation with my clients because I have a business, so I know marketing issues, sales issues. But how I can have a virtual CIO practice, which is like a business for me, which somebody else can do this work. So what was your experience on the, picking people or managing those guys, or, this whole arena of consultation?
I guess the place to start is to realize, first and foremost, if you, the person that's owning and starting the business and running the business, has the skills to do IT consulting and advisory and strategic planning and understands the connection and gaps between business and technology. If you can, then great, that's how you start it. You can start doing some of that consulting work, and you take people in your business that may not have all of those skills yet, but that you see the promise of it, and start to mentor them on that. And it's an investment because they're not out there billing time. They're seeing how you're doing it. They're learning your approach on things, the criteria that you look for in a client's business, the type of questions that you ask them, how do you respond to certain questions or responses that a client gives you, and you can start training them up that way. If you don't have those skills naturally and you're not extroverted and you just don't have that gap, but you've started a tech business and you want to get into that, you're going to have to, really pull the pin and hire somebody at a high level that's in a business advisory practice, a consulting practice, is a director of information systems or a CIO type person at a business, and bring that in and leverage that clout that they have of the enterprise or mid-market business they've been doing this for to sell to your clients. Almost any company out there that's making any amount of revenue that you're servicing has an appetite for this kind of business and that kind of service. So bringing someone in, it doesn't need to be some one huge contract you get. You can start to do it bit by bit, and even if it's a couple hours a week that each client is subscribing to this one person, starts to expand naturally and start to grow itself. When we hire, again, we hire based on culture fit and personality first. It has to be a match with the way that our company runs and whatnot. And we're, again, a service firm. We want people that can talk to other people, that we can have present, that they represent us well, and they have, they're very articulate in how they communicate with people. As long as they have an understanding of technology and tech as it stands and how people can use it, we'll train the rest of the technical stuff we need and help mentor them on the other side to grow there. But to get it started, most of the time it's going to be you or making that investment in a high-priced person to bring in and get them to do it.
And for that, Colin is like, because what I see is that in consultation, if you don't, you can have the same problem what we had in time and material services, because consultation is like tradition is the time and material stuff, like lawyers, everybody, uh, and 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 somehow, if you don't have processes, if you have the building blocks, if you don't have those figure out, then it's just some billing the hours kind of thing for the people, which is okay, but usually our client base doesn't really like to pay like 150, $200 for a virtual CIO per hour. How you're able to, hurdle or get this hurdle?
I guess there's a couple ways. One is you can start by the hour. The only caveat to that is you can't have somebody doing that consultative work for a client at $200, $250 an hour, and also have that person performing another service function for that business at the $100, $120 an hour. Because clients don't understand that. If I'm talking to John and I ask him this question, well, that only cost me $120 an hour. But the second I ask him this question and he spends an hour, talking about how my business is impacted by technology, that just cost me $250, and they don't understand that. So it's segregating that employee so that that person, even though they still might help on your service desk, that for that specific client that you're going to provide that service, they're not involved in any other manner or capacity. It's the same way as when a company is trying to bring on a new client and working with a prospect. Generally, as the owner, if you're doing the sales process and they ask you a tech question, the right thing typically isn't to answer the technical question and tell them how to solve it, or even go and solve it for them for free and give them something quick and easy, because they're going to be amazed with how much you know. It's establishing yourself as an expert in the field and saying, my team will handle that stuff, and I'll pass that question along to them to handle, and they'll do the technical work.
Okay,
it's not you doing it when you're establishing that trust and that I guess business-to-business relationship with your prospects or your clients. The same thing goes with the consultant. If they're doing strategic planning and advisory, they're not fixing Outlook on somebody's computer or finding out why emails are coming in slow, or doing a file restore. They are focused on the business and doing that, and deflecting every other request off to the service desk, whoever that might be.
That's really interesting what you said, because I think that for most of the managed services has the wrong assumption on what the client need of the different priorities. So you can jump onto the project and you assume as a CEO that the other CEO will be really happy because it's covered in the highest level, right? It seems for you because you are the highest resource available. And usually as a client, I always had an issue to, if the CEO is capable to do that, I was like a big red light, right? As a client.
Yeah.
So you are able to do that, why you are not working on your business, right? So if you are the guy who is doing the virtual CIO job, so that's a little bit interesting. So, and that's a false assumption, because everybody, I'm the best resource for doing that. That's the assumption is different.
Yeah.
That I think that's a great takeaway. And the other is that how, because what you said about segregating the people, that means how you structure, like in this 20 people company, how you structure the company was like a service desk and IT management departments, or so how you try to segregate internally this stuff.
At the beginning, it's not easy because everybody wears multiple hats, but it's starting to define teams in the company. So, you have your service desk and you have your projects team, and the projects team may even still be your tier 3 escalation for service tickets or whatnot, but it's again defining roles for people. Nobody really enjoys working for a company or working in a role where it's not clearly defined, where anything could be assigned to them, or having a defined role allows them to know themselves if they're meeting expectations and capable to do that role. And that way, even giving feedback, doing reviews is a lot easier. It always takes an investment to grow any business. Nothing's going to happen for free or just happen, with the snap of a finger. It's if you build it, they will come. Is build it, but I guess hedge your bet on it a little bit that you can still pull people back in. And if you have somebody that's capable of fulfilling on IT security or business advisory or whatever, is defining that role for them and even giving them the ability to champion building that group. And as that grows, not necessarily hiring externally to fulfill new roles in that practice or service area. It's, again, giving the internal people an opportunity to get into that. And so being openly communicating with everybody to say how that's going and what they're doing and seeing who's got the interest to be there so that they can go in and start to get mentored with that. Right now in our technical team at XCEL, everybody's in an open area, so everybody has access to every other technical person. Management's a little bit down the hall and whatnot, but we've got our defined departments of management and accounting and sales, administration, and then the technical team is still all one cohesive technical team that works together, but we have certain people that are focused on delivering solutions to clients and doing infrastructure projects. We have a person that's focused and dedicated on, on IT security and providing that to clients. Even though he may be leveraged from time to time on other areas, we've got our tier 1, 2, and 3 service desk for the managed services, and we've got areas, reserved in the bullpen there for other practice areas. And then even we've got a staging and projects room in our office so that when somebody's engaged on a project, they're focused on that and focused on the task at hand, and not worried about what tickets might be coming in or who else needs them. They can be, in a focused area of the office working on that, which is always better than being at the client site and having people see them doing IT work and, again, distracting them with other issues.
And so my question is that going back a little bit of the delivery of the virtual CIO stuff. Was it some because what I'm hearing with other managed services is like, I have small clients, 10, 15 clients. I have lots of, they don't need that. I can't go to the 50, 60, 80 people companies. I'm not comfortable with that. What do you think about this?
I think any company needs and wants to improve their business. Doesn't matter if it's a 10-person company, 15, 20, 100-person business. They're all in business to make money, make more of it, and make it even more profitable. So if you're approaching them with an opportunity to spend even a few $1,000s at a shot or $1,000, $2,000 a month, where for that amount of money, somebody's going to be focused on how their business uses technology, and that's not how they connect and get email and how they, where they store their files and, how they connect in remotely. It's how they leverage technology is, how can they become paperless so they're spending less money on office supplies. It's, how can they have automated handoffs from a person that's requesting approval for expenditure to their manager for approval, which then gets automatically filed over to finance for system. And it's finding technologies and systems that can be implemented to make their business streamlined. Every MSP's goal is to be as efficient as possible and automate all that you can and use all of these tools to, be able to do more with less, yet we're not providing that out to the clients. They need the exact same thing.
I don't know. It's like I had an article like a couple of weeks ago, which was like really shocking me. It was like Spiceworks annual reveal of where companies spending their IT budgets, and they said the totally interesting breakdown of softwares, hardwares, antivirus, whatever. And it was like, for me, the most important things was missing, right? It was like it defined how they spend money on the infrastructure. So what they said, it wasn't it wasn't about the budget of the infrastructure. They said it was the budget of the IT. And I think that's a big problem, because the whole industry said that IT means wires, cables, servers, networks. And when you go to the client, I have a great IT solution for you. Okay, go to the office manager. Because when you say IT, they will get the same stuff, right? IT, I know that. I don't care. I know that I don't care IT because it's working. And you say, but IT is not really that. Yeah, I know that the servers, we have a great server. No, it's like much more that. It's like, it's strategy. Yeah, we have a strategy. We have a whole roadmap, how we go to the cloud. It's not that. So it's really hard to define what IT means, right? And that's, I think, the best stuff to tell stories. What you said, tell stories about, okay, how you do that, how you process that. Is it something? Because you know what, my big takeaway here in this iPhone, we have the health app. Do you know what that means? We have an application for health. That means there is no such things which we can't leverage by IT, right? So show me one thing on a company you can't leverage with IT, right? So that's a big thing, I guess, is that how you or how the MSPs can deliver this message and open their eyes, because that's what I call reframing. And I think you were great in reframing and tell the stories, and because if you're opening their eyes, they say, aha. Because what I see is the problem is most MSP has the tag on them that these are IT guys. And I'm calling these guys when I have a virus or when I don't know where to click on Excel, right? So somehow the whole industry and we as MSPs, we put ourselves on that position. So, and tell me a story how you are.
It even starts with how we label the people that work for us.
Exactly.
And that's, again, something that we did a little bit different. We don't call our guys techs. We don't call them technicians. Each employee that we bring onto our technical team is an IT analyst when they're on our system. They're an analyst. That means they're analyzing the client systems to see how they can improve them or what's wrong or how we can manage them better. Same thing is using the word consultant. Every company in the world hires consultants to do different things for them, whether that's financial and accounting consulting and legal and true business advisory when it comes to their own people and processes and human resources. Is if you're going in and getting past gatekeepers to you don't even need to get past a gatekeeper when you've got a client already. Number one, it's easier to sell to a client you already sell to than to get a new one. So to go into that business, you have a relationship most likely with the CEO or the president or the CFO. If you go in, then they're starting to talk to them about true technology consulting and not IT and tech work and whatnot. Any single person in the world is going to take an opportunity where I can spend $2,000, $5,000 to make $50,000 more in revenue, or $500,000 or $5 million more in revenue. That's all profitable for me. They'll make that decision 7 days a week. So when you give them that opportunity, again, IT services, advertising so rarely works and brings new business in. Having brand awareness is great, by all means. Be out active in the community and stuff like that. It's word of mouth that gets you new businesses. It's referrals and references. And the second that you do one thing for a client that gets them more revenue or more profitable or the ability to do more with less or do more with the same, they are going to tell their friends. They will be out at their executive forums. They will be out at their fitness clubs saying, holy smokes, we just grew 10, 20, 30% this year. And we just how did you do that? We leverage technology different. We have this consultant that's helping us automate things and do new things that's just really changing our business. Their friends right away going to ask for the phone number. You just got a reference, you just got a testimonial and credibility because you've proven yourself, and more business is going to start to flow.
Colin, my question is that, because I think you are hitting the nail on right, that how do you think on your business or on your success was that you have this mindset, you communicate on that stuff, so you truly have the let's say the differentiation factor, which every MSP say, I'm disrupted, I have price pressure. Yeah, because you are saying the same, right? Why you don't change the communication? So what was how do you think it was like the way you communicate, the way you tell the story, the way to tell the story leveraging IT was a game changer on the growth of your business?
Number one, I had some great mentors that I've worked with in the past that I've witnessed and seen how they've done that. Other things, I've sought out and found role models of my own that have built successful businesses, whether in technology or another space, and tried to mimic some of the ways that they've done things and looked at that. Beyond all of that, when it's something that we're doing new, I'm a business owner as well. So it's switching that mindset in my head to say, what would sell me on this? Or what would I be expecting or looking for in this for my business, not as the service provider, but as the client? We have a company that services our phone system, and we have a company that does our website, and we have a company that does other facets of technology that we aren't focused on or do. And so I look at how I judge and hiring criteria and what I expect out of those companies, and I reframe that for our business for how we would then present what we're able to offer or do to their business. And it's not about having the best tool or giving the quickest response or the best service or any of that. It's how we can impact their business. It's their business as it stands today, plus what the services we are going to offer, what does that make them? And it's not what do they get or what technology do they have or network. It's this makes them a higher revenue company. This makes them a global company. This makes them differentiated and better than their competition. It's always finding that thing. There was that little graphic on LinkedIn that went around for a long time, which was you had regular little Super Mario, a plus symbol, and then that firepower flower, and that equaled the fireball shooting Mario, right? That's what you're selling is what that company can become as a result of leveraging your business and the service that you're providing. Not, not that, you'll have a virtual cluster and you'll have the highest secured system and we'll answer your calls in 90 seconds. No, your business can function and grow and have all these other advantages, and you can sprout up and hire staff in any region of the world, and they'll be just as connected as the people in your local head office city.
I think that's really it's really practical how you did that, because I can imagine this Mario guy, and it's really expressing what technology can do with and how and what I see is that the capacity. So the virtual CIO or you can increase their capacities and increase their adaptability and increase their IT management maturity. And that means a competitive edge, because if some new technology is coming, who can adapt faster, who have more IT savvy people in there, they can use this tool much better, because ERP is available for everybody. How many clients you see leverage an ERP in a best way, have all the reports, everything is streamlined? It's really rare, right? Because nobody really does. And even in an MSP, who's leveraging their RMM system or their PSA and CRM to the fullest capacity? Nobody is. And it's because, again, they're too busy focusing and working in the business instead of on the business. That's a great example.
Making that investment and people to do the work, to separate yourself out and make the plan and the structure and the process, and have somebody that's dedicated to, again, helping your own business leverage those tools so that you're the proof in the pudding. Eat your own dog food, practice what you preach, however you want to say it. It's, at IT companies, the number one, worst facet of an IT company is their own network system, because they're too busy working on their clients' networks than focusing on their own. Well, it says something when you go out to a client and you tell them all the technology you're running and how that's improving and helping your business, and that you can spout off and show, we do anywhere between 30 and 50% growth a year in our business. And so clients ask, how do we do that? That's through the use of technology. It's not because we're the best salespeople out there. It's not because we're the best techs. Although I put our team up against any other, it's that, we're leveraging technology ourselves to be a better business.
And my question is that, because I think that's it's really important, is that, what do you think? So my question is that, if you communicate in this mission, vision, why, leveraging technology, Mario, everything like that, but you do the same stuff, what this type of communication change if you just do what you did yesterday? You don't change anything, just start communicating. What's the difference? What do you think, or what was your perspective?
There's a big problem with that. Is because what you're going to do is you're going to start selling them and telling clients about all these great things that you're going to do and consult and advise and all of that, but on the other hand, all you're doing is still just responding to their support tickets and patching their servers and working on that stuff. You're building in their mind this desire, this lust for all these other things that you're selling to them that they're still not getting, and it's going to tarnish your own reputation that you're not delivering on what you're saying you will or do. And two, they're going to start looking somewhere else for those services you just sold them on, but you're not providing them. So it's going to be a huge detriment to your business.
It's interesting, because I can see another kind of layer of that, is that you can communicate that stuff. You are not selling. I completely agree. If you sell, I'm your virtual CIO, I'm blah, 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 then you screw up. You screw up in a big way. You are over-promise, under-deliver. I see a lot of people try to put really great MSP, really great virtual CIO service in the managed service contract, which wasn't able to carry that many of the hours which needed to be done, and it was like a real struggle. And what I see is that if you sell, I explain differently. If you sell the vision to the client, you can leverage the technology, but you do the same stuff. It's like Apple or Starbucks. They reframe the people. You can buy like a coffee for $5, right? Instead of buying for $1. Why? Because you can go there, sit down, open up your notebook, work for a whole day. Nobody's piss you off. That's the value proposition behind. That's the vision. That's why they can sell the latte for $5. How many times you do that? And how many times you grab the coffee and go out? Most of the times, right? Yeah. You don't use the value proposition why you get an expensive coffee. So what I witnessed with other MSPs, they started to sell the vision. They sell the same stuff. They didn't oversold, but the reputation, the trust level, the understanding that went up, so they were able to sell in a higher price the normal managed service stuff. Well, what do you think about that?
I think it's getting to a point where with managed services and IT, doesn't matter if you're providing your antivirus, your anti-spam, everything, and you have this most all-inclusive, nice package for managed services for people, that's quickly becoming the expectation, not the, oh wow, you'll do all of that for me. That's their expectation, that IT will run like their phone. They pick it up, they get a dial tone, they can make a phone call, it works. I boot up my computer, I can connect to email, I can do my job, I can make it work. So if you're doing that job really good, great. That's somewhat maintaining your business for you. But just like any other commodity, you know, if the competing telecom or internet provider in your area phones you and says, I can give you the exact same level of service, but I can save you $30 a month, you're going to switch to them because you don't have a relationship with a company that's just doing this continuous service, this commodity, this utility of IT that comes out of the wall for them. You can't just talk about it, and if you're not talking about it and ignoring it, you're missing a huge gap with your clients. You need to take that next step up and start providing and start having those conversations with people, because it's things they're thinking about already. It's things that other companies are approaching them with. And if they can't get it from you, they will get it somewhere else. It's like anything else in the world. If they can't get what they think they need from the current provider, they will bring somebody else in to do it.
And my question, Colin, is that you are so enthusiastic about virtual CIO and people and everything. How you come up with this kind of password problem? So just give me an idea, how does it get together? Because you have a really nice and great company you sold. What was the urge, or what you seen in that? Why do you want it to change to that venture?
I guess there's a few things. Is we noticed a huge requirement as our own MSP matured to have a need to have, again, the right policies, the right processes, the right tools, and to leverage the right technology to make us more efficient and better protected. And there was nothing for MSPs for password management. There was enterprise and mid-market solutions, but nothing for an MSP. And I was personally sick and tired of having to buy software that I had to install on our own servers and make that run and be managing that. So we went ahead and built our own password solution, made it a hosted system on a resilient infrastructure, and started to leverage that internally so that we didn't have to worry about junior techs having access to senior level passwords where, you know what, everybody's going to try stretch assignments and try to challenge themselves, and I'm all for that. What I don't want to have happen is a tier 1 person that comes in saying, oh, I got my CCNA in school and I did this and I did that, and all of a sudden pulling up the firewall config password, jumping on and totally destroying our client's connection to the internet, or opening them up for other security things, or taking something down. So being able to protect ourselves, our clients, and even protect techs from themselves, of being able to do damage that they may not even realize they're capable of doing. It's just like the end user of ours that's, you know, too smart for their own good, that they start tinkering and playing with things on the network or their computer that makes our jobs harder. So we saw a need for it and we built it. It's gone really well for us, and we've been able to attract hundreds of IT companies onto the platform now. A quick correction: I didn't sell the company. I still own XCEL as a company. I've just exited the daily operations of that company, because as the world's becoming more focused on security and higher needs for security, and more news alerts about hackings that's going on out there, and all of these passwords that have become exploited and whatnot, we're seeing this huge opportunity. And even in the MSP industry, we're seeing a stronger focus on how MSPs are able to manage and contain their own passwords, and how they can take another step forward in advising their own clients on password management solutions, because clients are needing to share passwords, whether it's the accounting department that you know needs to share access to the bank account or payroll system. It doesn't necessarily want them to know the password or have that wide open for everybody else, and to be able to mitigate some of those concerns and issues that come with it. So
and that's, for example,
that's one thing.
And the other thing is, like, it's typically, I think, is not a technology issue. It's totally the same issue which we are covering the virtual CIO stuff in this MSP2 maturity stuff, and how you address the different problems in your client base. We have a specific question in the questionnaire that do they have a password management tool, because that means it's a maturity question. It's not we are not able to manage it or whatever. It's compliance, security, and think through what we do, because managing password is not just a tool question. It's how you do that, how you plan ahead, how you manage this whole infrastructure, and that's a huge job for a managed services, I guess, to roll it out to a client, because it's not just managing the whatever super password of the whatever server. It's just how they manage there, because you see how many, holy cow, I just hate, I have like 4 or 5 different email addresses because of the different aliases of me. It's a pain in the ass to figure out in Doodle what was my password. So I always use this, forget password things, and I start something for myself. But for a client, to figure out this whole lots of all cloud-based applications, admin password, accounting password, you release the whatever bank card, holy cow, we have to go, but it's like a hell. So I see
Yeah,
the
and
I
it,
see the
it
need.
keeps growing, right? As MSPs are adopting all of these cloud technologies of, cloud-based HR systems that they're recommending and implementing for their clients, and timesheet management, and their own CRMs and other reporting softwares, accounting hosted systems. Well, these all have disparate login usernames and passwords too, and while lots of those integrate back with Active Directory at their local network, all of these clients are approaching the MSPs at the same time saying, I'm running all of these other things out in the cloud. Why do I need servers here? I don't want to have servers here. And I know that if you're not an MSP that charges per user, that client recognizes right away that I'm paying $200, $300 a month to have that server here that I don't think I even need to have. So it's starting to present other solutions to those companies that can solve, centralized authentication and identity management for them, and giving the IT company a solution to provide that, and an opportunity for them to monetize it themselves. So those are all the reasons why I've decided to make the change. The other thing is I've almost got some ADD when it comes to business, that I can only work on one thing for so long, and doing IT and consulting in IT for over 10 years, that was starting to not excite me the same way anymore.
Yeah, I hear you.
So I made the opportunity where I can still make money out of the business that I started and founded, and I can focus on a new challenge and start to put my focus on being able to give back on some things and help other MSPs be better and do things in a different way. And whether that's through conversations like this and advice, advising out to people, or providing a software product solution that helps improve their company, then that's really where I'm focusing now.
That's nice, because it's like I was thinking just that like a tech tool, but as we are talking about this stuff, it's a really huge opportunity for MSPs to raise their hands. Hey, that's a big issue. Lots of password all around, wherever, and that's using like a tool, and it's another kind of white labeling stuff, that I'm better than the competition because I'm thinking on that. Not just I'm executing, but I'm proactively thinking what the business problem you are going to have about that. So it's like, I really like that. If you give me like a link we can put under this video, so just people can browse it and check it out, what's all about, because I believe that the quality you did in the MSP is like the same what you are going to deliver in the Passport. And you said it like, what, you have hundreds of clients, so it's like running like a couple of years ago, so it's like a mature product. That's cool.
Yeah, it's been, the product has been around for 3 years now. We just didn't have the same level of focus on it that we do now.
Okay.
So it was more something we built to solve a need for us, and we put it out there for other companies, and it was solving it for them as well. But we see more that it can do. So now we're fully focused on it, and really doing active development cycles, and continuing to build that brand and awareness. So website's just www.passportalmsp.com, We're completely channel focused, MSP focused. We don't sell direct. We don't go to enterprise or mid-market. It's focused for the MSPs. Yeah, that's really where we're at with it.
Let's try it out. I guess you have like something to the MSPs can try it out, because I'm really excited on all the different differentiation factor which somebody can pull out really quickly, because I think that's something, from tomorrow you can say what's the problem, and you have a solution which I think you can pretty fast implement. So that's a really quick win for everybody. And let's say you are in the end of this year, you can create like a package of service, how you audit the passwords and something like that on the cloud, and think about, and that's like for $500 for a grant or $2,000, it doesn't matter, but it's like you can package it and sell it all over your client base, and it's a good way to go back. And so that I like this idea. If it's okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess the thing is when you go out and you hear other coaches or MSP advisors out there talking, and they always say you have to differentiate your company from your competitors, and that you can't do that by saying, our tools are better. And traditionally that's the case, because every MSP for the most part is using a remote monitoring system, whether that's LabTech, Enable, AVG Managed Workplace, whatever it is. And almost all of them are using a PSA, if it's Autotask, ConnectWise, TigerPaw, Vorex, whatever. Not everybody is using a password management tool right now.
That's interesting.
And so that becomes a tool that you can leverage as a differentiator of communicating that with your prospects and clients of, we take your security into mind and we're protecting your passwords from our techs. And IT is a high turnover industry, so if one of our techs happens to leave or we have to let them go, we can make sure that your system is protected rapidly rather than having to worry about what that person knew or didn't know, or how quick we can get around to changing that for everybody. It starts to differentiate yourself and position yourself more as an expert again to the clients, because you're taking their own security and the business side of what that impact would be to their business into your considerations and showing that to them. But there's only going to be a certain amount of time before that is no longer the differentiator.
It's getting commodity as well.
Right? Companies are hopping on this quick. There's been a number of lots of activity in the market around password management in the last 2-3 months that more companies are jumping on this, and there is still a window of opportunity where you can leverage that to be differentiated. But beyond that, it's going to become a product that helps bolster your own maturity and your own stickiness with clients, where they've got their passwords in the system with your company's logo on it. They are very much so going to realize the pain of pulling that information out and redeploying a different solution to all of their clients or all of their users and staff because you made a mistake on something or didn't respond to a ticket fast enough. They're going to want to work through that with you because of some of the stickiness you have and the inherent trust that they've started to build up with you by putting their passwords in the system with your logo on it. So
that's thank you for this lots of wisdom. Just if I may, one question or the end is that always that just give us like 3 suggestion, advice, something about how to raise our businesses like MSPs, and how to incorporate this virtual CIO or the consultation, what you see the hurdles can be, or what you overcome, or just just kind of
I think first and foremost is trust the people that work for you, and learn to delegate to them, because the more that you hoard and take on yourself or try to just do it yourself, the less you're actually able to work on growing your business. So it's trusting the people that you've hired. They will make mistakes. Things will happen. But much like you made the same mistakes, they will learn from them and they will improve and get better. And it's not a matter of reprimand when a mistake's made, but finding the lessons learned out of that. And over time, and it won't be that long, you will be separated out of that function. So number one is trusting the people that work for you and delegating them responsibilities to do things. I think the second is to define and build and nurture a company culture or corporate culture. which will, excuse me, help to retain your staff, make it a funner place to work, make it somewhere that people aren't going to just $2 more an hour somewhere else or seeking for that, but creating a culture where people want to come into work, they enjoy who they work with because they're similar people, they have similar interests and similar personalities, that again, they like working there and they want to build on success and be part of something that's growing. And then the third thing is to create windows and to create areas of opportunity for people to grow. Because if you want to grow your MSP, it's not going to grow without the growth of other people. And businesses don't always just grow up, they grow out. So there's multiple ways you can find new revenue. There's multiple ways that you can, enhance and build your business. And it's not always just by adding new clients of the same service you have. It's selling new services to the clients you already have, and then taking all of those services and selling them to new clients. So those would probably be the three things that I'd look at: is trust and delegation, defining a corporate culture, and giving opportunities for growth.
Colin, I can't say anything to that. Thank you very much for the talk. I think we should carry on later in different topics, because I was figuring out, and I was like doing lots of notes, making lots of notes to what it's really great, thinking that we haven't got this type of conversation before, and I was finding that the maturity of your leadership is really high level. So thank you very much for your wisdom, and and good luck for the new venture.
Thanks for having me. It's great talking with you as well.